Hi everyone. So in this video, we will be starting with Interactive Broker API. So before developing the API, you need a paper trading account. Okay, so this is how the paper trading account looks like. On the top, you can see this is not a brokerage account. And you also need the active data subscription. Okay, so you should be having access to any one market data. So the Indian market is free. So you can have that data too. So once you have this, you need to go to this website. You can just type this down on Google. You can just type IB Insync. It will take you to this website. So what is this library? This library was made by a person. So let me show you the official GitHub page of this library. So this person by the name Edwit. Okay, this is the person who has created this library. Now, what is this library doing? This library was made above the TWS API official documentation. So this is the official documentation provided by Trader Workstation. Now, this documentation is a little difficult to refer. Okay, so if you directly try to make the algo on this, it will be quite difficult for you. So what he has done, he has made a wrapper function above it. Like if I give you an example, let's say you want to place a market order. Now, if you refer this library, you have to write 10-15 lines of code. But if you refer this documentation, that is a wrapper function created by Edward, so you just need to write one line of code. Okay, you just need to call that function. Within that function, he has written the 15 line of code for us. Okay, this is what wrapper means. He has created a wrapper function which we can use for our need. Okay, so this is what we will be using. So if you want to install this library, just copy this code. Okay, pip install ib underscore insync, just paste it in the terminal and then install it properly. So let me just open VS Code. So first open the terminal, just copy this command. So let me just copy this. I'll just paste it here and just press enter. I already have installed it, so I'm not going to install it again. But in your case, if it is not installed, you have to install this library. Now, after installing this library, you can just check if it is installed properly by typing pip3 freeze. Okay, it will show you if it is installed or not. Now let's understand a basic concept of the IB API, that is the wrapper, that is the contract class. Okay, so what IB has done, they have made different classes. Okay, so the same is followed by the IB Insync library. They have made different classes and each class is made for one particular purpose. Okay, so we will be discussing all the classes one by one. The first class that we will be discussing today is the contract class. Okay, now what's a contract? So if you go to their official documentation and if you click on financial instrument contract, so you can see this is what they have given us to understand what is this contract. Okay, so what's a contract? So this contract represent the trading instruments such as stock, future, or option. Now, if you compare this interactive broker with other broker, what is the difference? Difference is that interactive broker is a global broker. Okay, so let's say if I ask the interactive broker to get me Infi stock data. Now this Infi stock is not only trading in Indian market, it is also trading in US market. So I also need to specify which market I'm talking about. Okay, am I talking about National Stock Exchange or am I talking about the New York Stock Exchange? After specifying the exchange, then interactive broker will give me the data for that broker, not broker, the instrument. So for that reason, the way we make a contract in interactive broker is a little different as compared to any local broker. Okay, so this is what a contract is. Contract represents the instrument. Okay, whether it be stock, whether it be future, whether it be crypto, any asset that we are dealing with. So we have to first make a contract of that instrument. Okay, so how do we do it? So let's refer the documentation. So if I scroll down a little, you'll see this is the basic template that they have given us. So I'll just copy this starting 4 line of code. I'll go to my VS Code. Let's make a new file. I'll just paste the code here. Now let's understand one by one what this code is trying to do. First, we are importing the library. So when we write from the library name import star, it means we want to import everything. We don't want to import one or two classes. We want to import everything. Then they have commented this line, that is util.star loop. Okay. Now this util.star loop function is used in IPYNB file, that is Jupyter file. So I'll show you in few minutes. I'll make a Jupyter file also. Whenever you are whenever you're writing a code in a Jupyter file, so you have to use this code. Then we are making a object of IB class. Okay, this is what you have to do. Before doing anything, you have to make a IB class object. Then we are calling this connect function. Now in this connect function, we are sending three arguments. First is the address. Okay, now this address, IP address, will remain same for everyone. Okay, whether it be you or someone else, if anyone wants to deal with interactive broker, trader workstation, so he needs to specify the same address. The address will be the same for everyone. Then we have this port number. Okay, now what is this port number? So if you want to know about this, you have to open the trader workstation, click on file, click on global configuration. If you go to API, if you go to setting, you will see that the socket port is 7497. Okay, so this is the port number that we need. And also make sure that this is enabled. Okay, on the top, enable ActiveX and socket client. This should be enabled. Okay, you have to make sure that go to this setting and just check if this is enabled or not. So we got to know the port. So that's the port number that you have to specify here. Now this port number changes for the live account. So for paper trading account, it is 7497. So if it was a live account, it would be 7496. Okay, so keep this in mind. And the last is client ID. Now this client ID can be any number. It can be 1, 200, 200, whatever number you want, you can have it. Okay, it doesn't matter. So this is how you will use the connect function to make a connection between the Python file and the trader workstation. Okay, this line basically makes the connection between both the software. Now let's move to making the contract. Okay, now when it comes to making a contract, let's refer to our website. So if you go to your course, you will see that I've provided one PPT. Okay, in this PPT, the first slide you will see contract class. Okay, so as I told you, in interactive broker, they have made different class for different purpose. Contract class is made to represent the instrument. Now in IB InSync, the Edward guy, he has made multiple functions. Okay, and in IB official documentation, they have only provided us with one class, that is contract class. So whenever you want to make a contract, either you can use the IB InSync the classes, or you can use the class provided by the official documentation, that is a contract class. So let me show you by using one of the function provided by IB InSync, that is Forex. So here we have used the Forex class, and here we have specified the currency. So let's say we want the Euro USD currency. We want to make a contract of this instrument. So I will just write the name within this as a string, and I'll just run the code. So if I run the code, I shouldn't see anything. So you see nothing I can see here. So I'll just print this contract. And if I run the code, you'll see it is going to show me the contract. This is how the contract is represented. Now see, I can write whatever I want. Within the Forex, I can also write the instrument name which doesn't exist. Like if I write some weird stuff here, and if I run the code, still, so right now it is throwing an error. Okay, but let's say if I write T, okay, and if I run the code, you see it is still working, right? So we have to figure out if whatever we are writing, whatever instrument name we are writing, is that a valid instrument or not a valid instrument. So how do we do that? We use the qualify contract function. So we will write IB dot qualify contract, and within this qualify contract, we will just pass the contract. Okay, this object that we have created, we will just pass it into this function. Now let's just print whatever we are getting. So I'll just write q underscore c is equal to this, and I'll just print this q underscore c. So if I run the code, let's see what we get. So you can see we are getting an unknown list. What if this contract is a valid contract? Like if I write USD, now this is the valid instrument name. So if I run the code again, now it is giving me a list. Okay, a list in which I only have one single element. Okay, so if you write a correct instrument name within the bracket, so it will give you a valid object. If you write something wrong, so this IB qualify contract function will give you nothing. Okay, so basically this function is used to figure out if whatever contract we are trying to make, is it a valid contract or not. If it's valid, we will get some answer. If it is not valid, we'll not get anything. Okay, so this is how you use the qualify contract and this Forex function if you wish to make a contract of any Forex stock. So this was about the Forex function, or you can say class function, it doesn't really matter. So let's see some other instrument. Like let's say I want to make a stock. I want to make a contract of a stock. So what will I do? So here, let me just remove this. I'll write stock. Okay, now when it comes to stock, there are three things I need to send. First is the symbol, then exchange, then currency. So I'll write symbol is equal to. So let's see which stock we can take. So I'll go to interactive broker and let's select any one stock. Let's say I want to select this TCS. Okay, now if you want to make a contract of TCS, first you have to select TCS. Okay, let me see. Let me take Reliance. Okay, not TCS. Let's take Reliance. I'll do a right click. I'll go to financial instrument info and I'll click on description. Now, once I open the description, it will give me some basic data about the stock. So the most important data is the symbol. So what is the symbol of Reliance stock? It is Reliance. Okay, so I need to write the same code in Reliance here. So what I'll do, I'll just write here in capital Reliance. Okay, this is the first argument. The second argument is I have to specify the exchange. So I'll write exchange is equal to, let's write NSE. Okay, because Reliance is on National Stock Exchange, so we have written NSE. And the last part is I have to specify the currency. So I'll write currency is equal to INR. So these are the three things you need to send whenever you're calling the stock option. So if I run the code, it should give me a valid list. Okay, so you can see it is giving me a valid list here. Okay, so this is a list. So if I only want the first element of the list, so I can simply write square bracket 0, because this qualify contract will always give me a list with a single element. Okay, if we are dealing with a single contract. So I'll just write square bracket 0 and I'll run the code. Now instead of the list, it will give me the element of that list, that is this stock object. Now let's just make some mistake. Okay, let's say instead of Reliance, if I have written something like this. Now this is not a valid instrument. So if I run the code, this qualify contract will not give me anything. See, it is throwing an error. Okay, so if I just remove this, you'll see that this list will be an empty list. So you can see it's an empty list. So if I correct it again, and if I run the code again, now it will give me a valid list. So I'll just write square. So let it be. I'll not write square bracket 0 for now. We will write it later. So this is how you can make a contract, okay, by using this inbuilt class stock. Okay, and you can use the IB qualify function to figure out if whatever contract we are making, is it a valid contract or not. Okay, now let's see few more functions or classes that we have which are provided by IB Insync. So these are all the basic classes provided by IB Insync. So we have this contract class, we have stock class, stock function, Forex function, CFD. So these are all the things that are provided. And IB broker, the official documentation, they are only providing one class, that is the contract class. Okay, so let me show you a few more example. Okay, so what I will do, we have explored the stock. Okay, now we have not seen any international stock, right? So this is a Indian stock. So let's take some US stock. So I'll open interactive broker. Let me just close this window. Let's say I want this Tesla stock. Okay, so I already know the name is Tesla. So I'll just go to VS Code. I'll just change this to Tesla. What will be the exchange? It will be NYSE. So I'll write NYSE. And the currency will be USD. So I'll write USD. So if I run the code, now this is going to make a contract object for Tesla stock. Okay, so no matter what stock you are dealing with, just write the symbol, exchange and currency. It will give you that particular stock. Let's say you are dealing with some stock in maybe UK stock exchange, Dubai stock exchange. So you just need to specify these three things. Okay, first the stock name, then the exchange, and the currency. You will be able to make the contract of that particular stock. So remember that this function stock, so see, you can call it class also, function also, because it's difficult to figure out is it a class or an object. But yeah, it is a class. So this stock class is made by IB Insync library. This is not a class provided by the official documentation. So let me make another contract, but now I will make the contract by using the official class provided by the IBK. Okay, that is the contract class. So this is how we write a contract class. So first I'll write contract. Then I have to specify the argument. Now see, these are all the argument that this class is taking. But in case of stock function, in case of the stock class, we only have to send 3 argument. Whereas in contract class, we have to send these many arguments. Okay. So let's say I want to make the same contract, this Tesla contract. So the argument would still be same. So I'll write first symbol is equal to, let's write Tesla. Then I have to specify the number. So I'll write 7, 4, oh wait. Yeah. So then I have to specify the exchange. So I'll write exchange is equal to NSE. Then currency is equal to USD. Okay. This is how I'll make a contract for global stock. So I'll just save it in C. And let's qualify this contract. So how to qualify? I just have to call. So let's write Q underscore C O is equal to IB dot qualify contract, and I'll just send the C. And let's just print this Q underscore CO. So if I run the code, if it's a valid contract, I should get a list. So it is not a valid contract. I have made a mistake, I think. So it is saying unknown contract. Let me run it one more time. Oh, yeah, because see, here I've written Tesla and I've written exchange as NSE. So I'll just change this to NYSE because there is no stock by the name Tesla on NSE. That's why it was throwing an error. Again, it is throwing an error. Symbol is equal to Tesla. Exchange is equal to NYSE. Okay, let me just copy this. And this is correct. I'll just comment this out for now. Let's see if this much is right or not. I'll just print the C. Run the code. So I am getting this. Now I'll just call this IP qualify contract C. It is saying unknown contract this. Please enter a valid okay. Now you see, you can read the error. It is saying please enter a valid security type. So I also have to specify what type of security we are dealing with. So how will I know this? So since it's a stock, so security type. So I'll write security type is equal to STK. Because it's a stock, so the securities type will be STK. Now if I run the code, it should work. You see, now it is showing me a valid contract. I'll just print this also. So let's just name it QC instead of Q underscore C. QC, I'll just run the code again. You can see I've got a list with a valid contract. If I want just the element, I'll just write square bracket 0. It will give me the contract itself. So this is how you can make a contract by using the contract class, which is provided by the IBK official documentation. Now, if you just think about it, how the stock class might be made. So what he has done, I'll just give you a glimpse. Like he would have made a class, stock. Now within the class, he will make the same contract. Okay, he'll make the same contract. So I'll just copy this. Now in this, all the other argument like the symbol, exchange, currency, these argument will be taken in whenever you are making the class. And this last security type will be default. Okay, when he was making this class stock, he will be having security type as stock by default. So we don't need to write it manually. But in this case, in whenever you are making the contract by using the official contract class, so in that case you have to specify what security type you are dealing with. Okay, so this is the major difference between a class provided by the IB Insync library and the official class provided by the IBKR documentation. So I hope this is also clear. Now let's see few more instrument, okay, to understand in more detail how we can use the contract class. All right, so what we will do, instead of writing the code here, let's make a Jupyter file. So I'll write IPYNB. Just copy this code, starting few line, just paste it here. Now, if you remember, when I explained you about this line of code, that is util.start loop, I told you that this code is only used in Jupyter Notebook. So see, if I run this code, it is going to throw an error. Why it is throwing an error? Because we need to uncomment this line. So I'll just uncomment this. Now, if I run this code again, it will work. But you see, it is throwing an error. It is saying peer closed connection client one already in use. So this is where client ID comes into picture. So what is happening when I'm running this code right now? I'm using client ID one. So if I want to use the IB broker from some other file, I need to specify a different client ID. So I can specify any ID. I just need to make sure that this ID is not used by any other file. So I can just write it maybe 5. This is not used by any. So any random number you can have, it is not that big of a problem. So now if I run the code, you'll see it is saying IB connected. So we have made the connection. Now let's just write a comment. So now we will write stock by IB in. Just copy this code, paste it here. Let's just uncomment everything. I just run the code. You can see we have made the stock object and we have qualified the contract to see how the qualified contract looks like. Let's add another comment. So this is for contract by IBKR. So IBKR for the official documentation and IB in for IB in sync library. Let's add another code. Just copy this, paste it here, just run the code. Okay, we are done. Now let's add another one. So we have seen the stock. Okay, so now if I ask you to make a contract for any stock, you should be able to do it. You just need to call either the contract class or the stock class, and you have to specify these many arguments. So 3 argument for stock class and 4 argument for the contract class. Now let's see how we can deal with future stock. Okay, so I'll go to IB in sync. So if I just do the full screen, you can see we have completed the stock. Now let's see this future. Okay. So I'll go back to VS Code. Let me just add a markdown. This is for future by IBN. So first let me show you by using IBN, then I'll show you by using contract by IBKR. So first I'll write, let's have a variable A is equal to future. Okay. I have to specify the symbol. Symbol is equal to. Now what should I take? So let's go to IBKR. Let's take this Bank Nifty. Okay. So can you see Bank Nifty anywhere? I think it should be here somewhere. It is here. Bank Nifty index. Yeah. So before showing you the future, okay, so let me show you how do we do it for index. Okay. So if you want to do it for index, I'll just add another index. Let's add a code. So I'll just copy this, paste it here. Now let's have the symbol as Bank Nifty. Okay. The exchange will be NSE. The currency will be USD. Now sector type will not be stock, but it will be IND. Okay. So remember this, if you are dealing with any index, Indian stock, so you have to write IND. So now if I run the code, I should be, oh, it is showing an error. It is saying no security definition found. So it was not able to find, oh, because I have to specify currency as INR. So let's change this to INR and run the code again. Yeah, now I've found the contract. Okay, so this is how you make a contract for an index. Okay, now the same thing can also be done by using the IB in library. So for that, you have to use the index function. So I'll show you that also. Let me just open a new this. So I have to write index in this way, and I just need to specify three thing, the same thing. So I'll just copy these three things, paste it here. I is equal to this. Just copy these three lines of code also. Instead of C, I'll write I, and let's run the code. It is throwing an error. Okay, wait. I need to specify these three things. Copy this. Run the code. You can see I've made the same contract, but now by using the index class. So this is how you can either use the contract class or the IB in sync class. Now let's move to the future one. Now let's say that we want the future contract of Bank Nifty. Okay, so for that I have to uh, get the nearest expiry. Okay, so let me show you. If I write the future, so let me just first write. So let's say I want Bank Nifty only, so I'll just copy this. I'll write in string Bank Nifty, comma. What else I need? If you see, the argument that I need to send is last traded contract month. Can you see this last trade date or contract month? This is one important information that you need to provide if you're dealing with future. So let me just write it down. Last traded contract month. Now what should be this? Okay, what should I write for this? So I need the month. Okay, I need that date for which the future contract I am searching for. So let's get some valid date. So what I'll do, I'll just go here and I'll just search for option chain. Okay, now if I go to option chain, you can see the nearest expiry, the end of the month expiry is April 27, 23. Okay, April 27, 23. So let's write it down. So I need to provide the data in YYYMMMDD format. So first it is 2023. Okay, year is done. Then month. What is the month for April? Jan, Feb, March, April. It is 4. So I'll write 04. Then what was the date? The date was 27. So I'll write 27. So this is one important data you have to provide. Then the other two same data I can provide, the exchange and the currency. So I'll just copy this. I'll paste it here. That's it. So let's see. I'll just run this much code. So it is working fine. Okay, so I'll just qualify the contract now. Just copy this, paste it here. Instead of C, I'll just write A and I'll run the code. So you can see we have got the list with the future contract. So this is how you can make a future contract. Now, if you want to do it by using the contract class, so you just need to add this one argument. Same argument you have to send last traded date or contract month. The same date if you send, you will be able to get it. So I'll just show you quickly. So I'll copy this. Future using IBKR. Let's paste it. And I'll just copy this small thing, comma, paste. Now I also need to specify the sector type. Okay, now this will be future. So I'll just write FUT. It's not an index, it's a future. That's why I have to specify this. And rest of the things will remain the same. I'll just run the code. You see, I've got the contract class of the same instrument. So this is how you can make a future contract class. Now let's try the option contract. Option contract. Now what I will do, let's have O is equal to, I'll write option. Okay, now in option, what things I have to send? First symbol. So let me just copy all the things that I have provided for future, because most of the data would be same. Pasted it. Alright. Okay, so I've specified the symbol, I've specified the exchange, currency is also done. Sector type I don't need, okay, because we are using the IB in class. This option class is provided by IB in sync, so I don't have to specify the sector type, so I can remove this. Then I need the date for option. Now there are two more things I need. What are those two more things? First is strike price and the right. Okay, these two things I want. So let's see. Let's say I want this 41660 strike and I want put option. Okay, 41600. So I'll write strike is equal to 41600 and right is equal to P. So let's see if this is correct or not. So I'll run the code. Yeah, it is working. Now I just need to qualify the contract. Let me just copy this code, paste it here. Instead of C, I'll write O and I'll run the code. So you see, I've got the option contract too. So this is how you can make the option contract by using the option class. Now the same thing can also be done by the contract class. So let me show you how it can be done. So I'll just copy this code, paste it here. Now what will change here? First of all, sector type will change. It will be option, right? So it is OPT. OP document, that is strike and right. So I'll just copy this. Just write comma, paste. If I run the code, you will see I'm getting the same contract by using the contract class. So this is how you can do it. Okay, whether it be future, whether it be option, whether it be Forex, any contract you are dealing with, either you can use the class provided by IB in sync, or you can use the contract class. Just make sure that when you're using the contract class, you have to specify the sector type. Okay, whether it is stock, whether it is a future or option, that is the only thing you have to specify.